Good morning, US, and good afternoon, Italy. My name is Silvia Raffa. I'm the Managing Director of the Italian American Chamber of Commerce in Chicago. On behalf of the Italian Chamber, I welcome you today to our webinar, Become an Italian Citizen, Everything You Still Don't Know, organized for our new member company, the Italian Citizenship Assistance, ICA. So let me extend a special welcome today to our guest, Marco Permunian, CEO and US Office Director of the ICA. Good morning, buongiorno.
Buongiorno, good morning.
Today, he will explain us the methods and services he offers to become an official Italian citizen in the US. So I would like to say a few words on the ICA. The Italian Citizenship Assistance is an international firm with both offices in Italy and the United States that help individuals in both countries and elsewhere apply for Italian citizenship, use sanguinis by right of blood, and also who are not of an Italian descent, applying for Italian citizenship either through marriage or residency. So the company is made up of a team of legal experts, genealogists, translators, and dual citizenship attorneys who have helped hundreds of Americans with Italian descent obtain Italian citizenship via the consulates in the US, via application filed in Italy, or via judicial proceedings in cases which needs to be filed in court. So welcome again to everyone today. Thanks to all our attendees. We were quite pleased to see how much of interest everyone has shown to our webinar today. So now I will hand over to my co-worker and today moderator, Matteo Zanelli.
Thank you, Silvia. As you just anticipated, this webinar is meant to help everyone who is interested in applying for Italian citizenship, getting a good understanding of the eligibility requirements, the documents needed to apply, the cost involved, and more. So I will start asking you, Marco, what are the eligibility requirements to apply for Italian citizenship by descent?
Thank you. First of all, there are no generational limits, so you can apply for citizenship by descent, no matter who your ancestor who was born in Italy is. It could be your grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather. There are no generational limits. However, there are some rules and eligibility requirements that need to be respected. First of all, your Italian-born ancestor must have been alive in 1861 when Italy was unified as a country. So if your ancestor had passed away before 1861, then you cannot apply for citizenship by descent. But if your ancestor was alive, even if your ancestor had already left Italy, then the first requirement is met. The second requirement is that your ancestor did not become a citizen of a foreign country, like the US, prior to 1912 and prior to the birth of the next person in the Italian line. For example, if your Italian born ancestor was born, say, in 1890 in Italy, this requirement is met if your ancestor did not become a naturalized US citizen prior to the birth of your grandfather, who was born in the US in 1920. If there is a woman in your Italian line, you can only apply for citizenship if this woman gave birth to her child after January the 1st, 1948, because prior to that date, women were considered by the Italian government as unable to transfer their citizenship onto their children. So if there's a woman in your Italian line, then it's important that her child was born after January 1st, 1948. Even if the child of the woman in question was born prior to that date, it may still be possible to get Italian citizenship, but you would have to pursue Italian citizenship through litigation. And maybe we can talk about that later. So these are the basic requirements that you have to meet in order to qualify for citizenship by descent. Of course, there are exceptions or peculiar cases, but let's say that these are the most basic requirements that a person needs to meet in order to qualify for citizenship by descent.
Great. Then I will ask you, sorry, what documents do you need to apply, and also where you can apply if you live in the United States?
So once you have determined that you qualify for citizenship by descent, and by the way, we offer a free eligibility assessment service. So for those people who are unsure whether they qualify or not, they can reach out to us and we can assess their cases completely free of charge and obligation. But once you have determined that you qualify for citizenship by descent, then you can start gathering the necessary documents that you will need to present to file your application. These documents are primarily vital record documents pertaining to the individuals in your Italian line. So birth certificates, death certificates, marriage records, naturalization records for your Italian ancestor. The documents needed for the process are normally listed on the website of the Italian consulate that you will be using. And of course, if you're using our services, we can gather all of these documents for you. The documents need to meet very specific requirements as well. So they need to be in a specific format. If there are discrepancies or inconsistencies in the documents, you may have to amend your documents. Your documents will have to be legalized and translated into Italian. And only when you have legalized your documents and translated them into Italian, you'll be able to present them to the Italian consulate in your area. And this answers your question that you asked about where you can file the application. Well, you can file your application for citizenship through an Italian consulate in the US. If you're living in the US, it needs to be your local Italian consulate that has jurisdiction over the state or the area of the US where you reside. So for example, if your audience today is mostly from the Chicago area, they have to present their application through the Italian consulate in Chicago. For people living in New York, they have to present the application through the New York City consulate and so on. However, there is a way to expedite the process, because if you use the Italian consulate in your area, you may have to wait a number of months before being able to file your application, because there's a huge interest in applying for citizenship, and therefore consulates, they are booked for sometimes many months ahead. So normally what people do is they book their appointment at the consulate and then they start gathering the documents that are necessary for their application. But like I said, there's a way to bypass the consulate and undergo a quicker process, which would be relocating to Italy to do the process in Italy. Of course, you have to be willing to relocate to Italy for a few months. And the advantage would be that there is no wait time for an appointment, meaning there is no need for you to book an appointment in Italy to be able to file the application in Italy. You can just, when you have all your documents, relocate to Italy and start the process there, which will be, in the end, a much quicker process.
Great. Talking about the eligibility requirements, you mentioned the 1948 case. So can you give us more information about that, what our viewers need to know about it?
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, if you have a woman in your Italian line, even if it's a woman born in the US, for instance, you're applying for citizenship through a great-grandparent, and then your grandmother is the woman in question who was born in the US. Well, if this woman, so in this example, your grandmother, gave birth to her child after January 1st, 1948, then you can apply for citizenship through the Italian consulate, or you can go to Italy and do the process in Italy. But if the woman in question gave birth to her child prior to January 1st, 1948, then technically speaking, you don't have a case, you don't qualify for Italian citizenship, because prior to that date, prior to January 1st, 1948, the Italian Constitution didn't exist. And it was only with the Italian Constitution that women were given the same rights as men, meaning the right to pass their Italian citizenship on to their children. So, as I mentioned a moment ago, if you have a woman who gave birth prior to January 1st, 1948, you technically speaking don't qualify for citizenship by descent. But according to a recent Supreme Court's decision, you are entitled to citizenship anyway, because this situation was considered as discriminatory against women by the Supreme Court. So you can still pursue Italian citizenship successfully, but you will have to do it via the Italian court system. And this process is very popular. There are a lot of people who don't qualify for citizenship through an Italian consulate because their case falls in this category, and they choose to pursue citizenship through litigation, and they're successful. It sounds like a daunting process, but it's not. In some cases, it can even be a quicker process than a normal process. There is also another situation which is considered to be as discriminatory against women, which is the case of a woman who became a US citizen completely involuntarily and automatically, which happened to women married to US men, or even Italian men who became US citizens prior to 1922, prior to the Cable Act. It was only with the Cable Act that in the US, the citizenship of women was no longer connected to the citizenship of their husbands. Prior to the 1922 Cable Act, if a woman was married to somebody who was a US citizen or who became a US citizen prior to 1922, then that woman became a US citizen, but completely involuntarily and automatically. And that gives you the ability to pursue citizenship based on this woman becoming a US citizen involuntarily, but you will have to do so through the court system.
Good. To all the attendees, we will have a Q&A section at the end of the webinar, so you can write your questions in the DNR section in the chat, and we will pick your request at the end of the webinar. So let's move on. You just anticipated this, but is there any generational limit to apply for Italian citizenship by descent?
Like I said before, there isn't a generational limit, but it's good that you ask me that question again, because it is very uncommon, I should say, for a European citizen for a European citizenship to have no generational limits. Like, you can apply for citizenship no matter who your ancestor was. For example, if I'm not mistaken, there is a generational limit for UK citizenship or for Spanish citizenship. So those people who are interested in pursuing UK citizenship or Spanish citizenship, there is a generational limit, but there is no generational limit with regards to Italian citizenship, which doesn't mean that there are no requirements that need to be met. We did talk about the requirements before, but it's definitely a great advantage because people don't have to worry about generational limits. In short, I would say that if you are of Italian descent, it's very likely that you meet the requirements to be able to file an application for citizenship by descent. You need to look into whether or not you qualify. We can determine that for you, but it's likely that you do meet the requirements.
Good. So let's assume that I met all the eligibility requirements, but I was born and raised in Chicago, and I don't know the Italian language. So do you need to speak Italian to apply for Italian citizenship by descent?
This is a very interesting question, and the answer is no. And it's another advantage, like something that is very good about Italian citizenship in comparison to other citizenships. You don't have to speak the language to qualify for citizenship by descent. So in the example that you just gave, if you were born in Chicago and your great-grandfather was from Italy, you can apply for citizenship by descent even if you don't speak Italian. And the reason behind that is that you were born already with Italian citizenship because citizenship was passed to you one generation to the other. So from your ancestor down to you. So your great-grandfather passed his citizenship through to your grandparent, who passed their citizenship to your parent, who passed their citizenship to you. So you were born already with Italian citizenship, and you just have to go through a process to have the Italian consulate acknowledge that you hold Italian citizenship. That's why it's not necessary for you to speak Italian, because you're just going through a process that will lead to a retroactive recognition of your birth status. The same does not apply to citizenship through marriage and to citizenship through residency, for which you do have to speak Italian. So if you want to apply for citizenship by marriage, meaning if you're married to an Italian citizen, or if you want to apply for citizenship, for Italian citizenship based on your residency, so after having resided in Italy for a number of years, in those cases, you do have to have an intermediate level of Italian.
Good. I think this is one of the most important things about the advantages. So what are the benefits of applying for Italian citizenship?
Italian citizenship has many benefits. I'd say the most important, at least to me, is the ability to reside and work anywhere in the European Union, so in any European country. So not only Italy, but also Spain, Germany, France. So as a dual citizen, because I just want to remind everybody that we're talking about dual citizenship, so you don't have to renounce your original citizenship. You will become a dual American and Italian citizen. So dual citizenship gives you the ability to work and reside anywhere in the European Union without limits. So, and without the need for a visa. So you don't have to go an immigration process. You just can decide to relocate to a European country and do it the next day. That also means easier access to employment opportunities in the European Union. Of course, you will be likely preferred over somebody else who has to go through a visa application process, and you don't because you are an Italian citizen. But also applying for Italian citizenship by descent means being able to use the Italian healthcare system for free. The Italian healthcare system is one of the best healthcare systems in the world. A lot of people don't know that, but if you're an Italian citizen, you can use the healthcare system in Italy for free, even if you're not a taxpayer, even if you never pay taxes. In Italy, there are no insurances, so you don't have to have an insurance. You will be covered just because you are an Italian citizen in Italy. Also, there's one last thing that probably is worth mentioning, that this will become a legacy for the future generations, meaning that if you get Italian citizenship now, if you go through this process, which can be long and time consuming and complicated, the future generations, so your children or grandchildren, will not have to go through the same process to become Italian citizens. In fact, as an Italian citizen, you will be able to register the birth certificates of your children when they're born, and that's when they will become Italian citizens upon registration of their birth certificates, which is a very easy thing to do, so they don't have to go through this process, and the same goes for your grandchildren. So your children will have to register their birth certificates through the consulate, and they will become Italian citizens instantly as well.
So now we know the process, the necessary documents, the how to proceed, but how long in general does it take to be recognized as an Italian citizen?
It can be a long process, mainly because of the huge interest in Italian citizenship, especially in the US, but also in South America or the UK, Australia. It is a long process. If you go through an Italian consulate in the US, you can expect the process to take about 2 years. It can be quicker if you do the process in Italy, probably half. So about 1 year. For a 1948 case, so for somebody who is getting citizenship through the court system, it is as well about a 2 years process. Getting the documents per se will take about 7-8 months on average. Of course, it depends on the case, on the complexities that you're facing with your case, if you have to amend documents, or if the documents that you're gathering are from a state that is particularly slow. But it will take about 7 months on average. But the appointments at most Italian consulates are 1 to 2 years out. So if you book an appointment today, you can then start gathering the documents, because your appointment will not be until 1 to 2 years from today.
Okay, so as anticipated at the beginning of the webinar, Italian citizenship assistance is also famous for helping people to apply for Italian citizenship, both by marriage and residency. So Marco, what our viewers need to know about the obtaining citizenship by marriage, and also what are the main differences with the citizenship by descent?
Sure. So the spouse of an Italian citizen, which can be somebody who was born in Italy or somebody who became an Italian citizen, is eligible to apply for citizenship through marriage after 3 years from the marriage if the couple is residing abroad, or 2 years from the marriage if the couple is residing in Italy. And also the good thing about Italian citizenship is that the spouse of an Italian citizen does not necessarily have to reside in Italy in order to be able to apply for citizenship through marriage. So even somebody who resides abroad with their Italian spouse can apply for citizenship through marriage. Anyway, the timeline is cut into half if you have minor children. So it becomes 1.5 years or 1 year, respectively. So if you are residing abroad, 1.5 years from the marriage. If you are residing in Italy, 1 year from the marriage if you have minor children. Now, the most important requirement is that you have to be able to speak Italian. So you have to present a language certificate at the time of the submission of the application that proves that you have a lower intermediate level of Italian. The level is the B1, which is lower intermediate. Then you can present your application for citizenship through marriage. You will need some documentation like criminal background checks, your marriage record, the language certificate, and then you go ahead and present your citizenship application, and it can take 2 to 3 years to process. So the process for citizenship through marriage can be a rather long process. However, Italy gives you the ability to reside in Italy if you are married to an Italian citizen, even before you apply for citizenship through marriage and immediately after the marriage. So if you are someone who is marrying an Italian citizen, as soon as you get married, you will have the ability to reside in Italy with your Italian spouse indefinitely, so almost without limitations. And the only thing that you can't really do is vote, which is something that only citizens can do, vote for the Italian parliament. But you can reside in Italy with your spouse. You can use the healthcare system. You can also reside in other European countries with your Italian spouse on the condition that your spouse relocates in the other European country and register themselves as a resident in the other European country. Then you can get a residency permit as the spouse of an Italian citizen in the other European country. So the residency permit will be issued in this case by the other European country, not by Italy. And you don't have to speak Italian. So in short, to recap, if you want to apply for citizenship through marriage, it can be a long process. You do have to speak Italian, but in the meantime, you can apply for a residency permit for spouses. Now, I believe you asked me also about the citizenship through residency.
Residency, yes.
The process for citizenship through residency is very similar to the application process for citizenship through marriage. Of course, we're talking about here about people who reside in Italy, people who have normally no Italian ancestry and want to apply for citizenship based on the fact that they are residing in Italy and that they have resided in Italy for a number of years. Well, normally you can apply for citizenship through residency after 10 years of residency in Italy without interruptions. However, if you are an EU citizen, so citizen of another European country, citizen of Germany or Spain, and you have been residing in Italy for 4 years, you can apply for citizenship by residency. So for EU citizens, the wait time to be able to apply for citizenship through residency is only 4 years. There is also another category, which is people who are of Italian descent up to the second degree, meaning they have an Italian parent or an Italian grandparent born in Italy, but they don't qualify for citizenship by descent. Well, those people, they can apply for citizenship through residency after 3 years of residency without interruptions in Italy. And to apply for citizenship through residency, like I said, you have to speak Italian. The process is very similar to the citizenship through marriage process. So you can file the application when you have met the requirement, like the number of years that you have to have resided in Italy. And then the application will be processed in a 2 to 3 years time frame.
Well, at this point, I would like to take a couple of questions from the chat. To all the attendees, we don't have enough time to answer all of your questions, but I remind you and I encourage you to contact Marco and the ICA on their official website on ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com. You can contact there and also on all the social media official channels. So let's pick up some questions on the Q&A section. So Marco, you can click on the section below and you can check also the question. For example, we have Michael DeVito asking there's any tax implication for dual citizenship.
Okay, first of all, let me clarify that it's a very complex topic, and I feel comfortable giving information that falls within my area of expertise, but we're not tax attorneys. So for information about taxes, people should contact a tax attorney because it's a very complex topic that has little to do with the dual citizenship process. Now, to the best of my knowledge, Italy will tax you only if you're a resident of Italy. So not just because you become an Italian citizen, but because you also reside in Italy for more than half a year. Now, the US, on the other hand, taxes its citizens just because they are US citizens. But there are treaties between Italy and the US to avoid double taxation. So even if you are a US citizen and can be taxed by the US government, even if you are an Italian citizen who happens to reside in Italy for more than half a year, you shouldn't be too concerned about paying taxes in both countries because there are treaties between Italy and the US to avoid double taxation. But of course, for more information, it's just best to contact a tax attorney.
Okay. So let's see. Letty ask, if I become an Italian citizen by descent, will my wife also become an Italian citizen?
Yes and no. So not automatically. So if you apply for citizenship by descent, you and your children who are alive at that time and are minors will become Italian citizens. In order for your wife to become an Italian citizen, she will have to apply for citizenship through marriage, and the process is the one that I outlined before. So it's a separate process that can be started only after you have become a citizen by descent. Like I said before, there is also a residency permit available to spouses of Italian citizens, which could be an easier and quicker path to relocate to Italy or the European Union.
Good. Next questions came from Rick Nunziati. Rick Nunziati asked, can I apply for Italian citizenship for my kids at the same time that I apply?
So your minor children, they will be automatically included in your application if they're minors at the time of the submission of the application. So they will be automatically included. Your adult children, so people who are over 18, at the time in which you submit your application will not be included in your application automatically, but they can file a joint application together with you. So if you have adult children, you can all file a joint application through the same consulate and get citizenship at the same time all together, on the condition that you live within the same consular jurisdiction. Whereas if you live in different consular jurisdiction, you will have to file separate applications at separate consulates, which will have separate timelines and potentially different outcomes.
Good. The next questions came from Jerry ONG. I was born in 1953 to an Italian mother who gave up her Italian citizenship when she married my American father in 1948. I have already assembled all the documents and was granted citizenship that was revoked when I was discovered that my mother gave up her citizenship prior to my birth.
I think this is a very delicate situation that we will have to look into. There is something that I don't fully understand. I'm reading the message too. I think this is a complex situation that I can definitely look into. Jerry can send me an email. My email is marco@italiancitizenshipassistance.com, and I can surely look into that. And like I said, like our initial assessment is completely free of charge.
Okay. So Marco, if you want to check it out, the last two questions on the dedicated section that needs some attention, we can.
Okay, maybe we can answer Susan's question. If you decide to relocate to Italy to expedite the process, will you be required to obtain a visa and or register with the Questura while you're waiting a citizenship decision? The answer is yes. You will have to request a residency permit, but not prior to relocating to Italy. You will do so while you are in Italy. So after you've filed your application for citizenship at the Comune, in the case that it takes longer than 90 days for the municipality to process your application, which unfortunately is normally the case, then you will have to request a residency permit, which is called permesso di soggiorno in attesa di cittadinanza, which will be issued by the Questura.
Good. Let's see the last two questions.
There's another one interesting. Yes, I'm sorry, you can choose.
No, you can go on. No problem.
So I was reading Raffaele Alberto's question. Once I apply for citizenship and whenever it approves, does it become easier for my siblings to become Italian citizens? And the answer is, again, yes and no. So if your siblings reside within the same consular jurisdiction, because in the US there are consular jurisdictions, so every consulate of Italy has jurisdiction over a certain area of the US. So if your siblings reside in the same area, so not necessarily the same state, but the same area, for example, the New York City consulate has jurisdiction over the state of New York, part of New Jersey, and Connecticut. Well, if your siblings reside in the same area and therefore have to use the same consulate, then yes, it will be easier for them to get Italian citizenship because they don't have to present all documents again, going back to the Italian-born ancestor, because those documents will be already on file with the consulate. On the other hand, if they reside in a different consular jurisdiction, then they will have to present the documents all over again. So it will not, unfortunately, be any easier for them to apply. And by the way, the same goes if you apply in Italy. If your siblings then use the same comune, it will be the same. They can use the same documents that are already there at the comune with no need to gather them again.
Good. I think that we can go for the last one. And Marco, if you wanna remember to all the attendees where can contact you and can get the assistance from the ICA.
Absolutely. Let me see if there is one last question.
Yeah.
That is, this is an interesting question. Is it better to apply in a large city such as Rome or go to a smaller area for faster service? Of course, this question is regarding the application for citizenship in Italy. So if you want to apply in Italy, you should, in my opinion, definitely choose a smaller municipality, because the bigger the municipality is, the more issues and problems you will likely have, just because you have to deal with, a lot of different people in different offices in the same municipality, in the same town hall. Whereas if you apply in a small municipality, there will probably be just one person that handles everything, and that will make your life much, much easier. So that's my answer. And for people who want to contact us, they can go onto our website, ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com. They can call us, or they can submit an inquiry through our website. They can send us an email. The email is on the website as well. We offer a free eligibility assessment, which means we can assess the case completely free of charge, and that includes phone consultations, so even multiple ones before somebody's comfortable moving forward with us. Emails, we normally exchange a lot of emails with people before they sign up with us. We offer a thorough evaluation of their case and family tree. So we have a chart that you can request that will be sent to you and that you can fill out, and we will actually do research. We have access to many databases to see if you qualify for citizenship, to locate the missing pieces of information, and this is all free of charge. And again, this can be started by entering in contact with us through our website. And for people who simply want information about the process, if they want to go DIY, if they want to handle the process by themselves, they can find plenty of information on our website, ItalianCitizenshipassistance.com, but also on our YouTube channel. We have a podcast that is released every Wednesday. And in every episode, we discuss a specific topic on the subject of Italian citizenship by descent, but also through residency and by marriage.
Well, I think we have 10 more minutes for a few questions. So the requests are a lot. So if you want, Marco, you can choose some more requests that need some attention, and we will end in later the webinar.
Absolutely. So I will go in order from the last one, just because I'm at the bottom. Can you define the consulate areas? This is on the website of the Italian Embassy in Washington, D.C., which is, let's say, in charge of all the consulates in the U.S. So if you go on the website of the Italian Embassy in Washington, D.C., you will find a list of jurisdictions, including states and counties, because some states are divided by counties. For example, New Jersey is half under the jurisdiction of the Philadelphia consulate and half under the jurisdiction of the New York City consulate. So everything is listed there very clearly. Another person, Linda, has asked about the Philadelphia consulate canceling appointments for citizenship. Unfortunately, because of COVID, we're seeing that an appointment cannot be just canceled. They will probably offer you a new one. It is a lengthy process, especially because of COVID. Unfortunately, it became even a longer process than before. But the only way to expedite the process, if you don't want to wait for your appointment in your jurisdiction, is to either relocate in another jurisdiction, and I'm talking about actually relocating, or file the process directly in Italy and go through the process in Italy.
Good.
Let's see. Well, this I answered. Okay, this question is from Linda as well. Do adult children of someone obtaining Italian citizenship have to register birth certificates with local consulates after their parent receives Italian citizenship, or do they need to apply independently with all the documents required of the parent? It's neither. So my suggestion is that adult children, which will not be included in your application, as I explained before, my suggestion is that they file a joint application with the parent, meaning they also need to have an appointment, and the appointment can be the same. The appointments can be the same day or the same week. It doesn't matter. But when you go through the same consulate, even if you are formally separate applicants with separate appointments, you can use the same documentation. For example, if you go first on a Monday, and then your adult child goes second the same week on Wednesday, your child can use all the documents that you filed 2 days before. But there is no way for them to register their birth certificates, meaning they will have also to formally apply for citizenship. So if they're not going through the process with you, they will have to book another appointment, which will probably be in 2 years from now and file their own application, again, with no need to provide all the documents to the consulate again, because the consulate will have all the documents on file already. I hope I answered the question.
Yes. We have 10 more minutes, so to all the attendees, you can leave your question in the chat box.
Okay. Okay, Rosanna, she's asking, am I automatically an Italian citizen if I was born in the US to Italian-born parents who got their US citizenship after my birth? If so, will my son automatically be eligible for Italian citizenship? It's a very clear question, and the answer is yes. So if your Italian-born parents became US citizens after you were born, and you were born in the US, you qualify for citizenship by descent. You will have to apply for citizenship through your local Italian consulate, or you can go to Italy and do the process in Italy, and your minor child will be automatically included in your application, meaning your minor child will become an Italian citizen together with you. Arnold is asking another question, which is interesting. If I start the process in one consulate, for example, Chicago, and then move to another area, for example, New York, how is the application handled? Unfortunately, not very good, because so if you move prior to attending your appointment, there's nothing you can do. You have to book another appointment in the other jurisdiction and just wait for your appointment. If you move if you move after you attended your appointment, if the consulate is not aware that you moved, they will just grant your citizenship, and after you are an Italian citizen, you can register as an Italian citizen in the other consulate and apply for a passport in the other consulate. So this is my answer.
Good. In the meantime, you can choose the last 2 questions, but I want to remember to all the attendees that this webinar will be available in the next few days on our YouTube channel. But if you have just filled the form for the participation, of course, you will receive via email the registration, which you can review and check all the information that you need.
Okay, I will go on with the last 2 questions then. I'd like to choose these questions from Morgan and Charles. What is the general cost of pursuing Italian citizenship, and does your company charge to help get citizenship? So yes, we do charge to assist people. We do offer a free preliminary assessment. Like I said before, it's a very extensive assessment and thorough, but if you want to become our clients, we will help you throughout a process which will be challenging and long, and yes, we do charge. As for what is the cost in general to pursue citizenship, well, if you pursue citizenship by yourself, the actual cost is limited to the cost of the documents which you need to present to the consulate. Roughly, it of course depends on the case, but it could be like anywhere from $500 to $800. On average, it could be lower or higher depending on your specific case, but that's the average cost of documents, certifications, legalization, and then there is the consular fee, which you have to pay at the time of the submission of the application. That's going to be 300 euros payable in US dollars, and the conversion rate is it changes every 3 months. So you have to check the website of the consulate to see what the current conversion rate is, and the consular fee is, again, 300 euros payable in US dollars at the time of the submission of the application, normally through a money order. And as for the cost of our services, that really varies a lot depending on the case. The purpose of the free eligibility assessment is not only to determine the person's eligibility, but also see if the person, but also to determine how much our service fee would be for that specific case, because cases are very different from each other. There could be peculiarities or eligibility requirements that are peculiar to a very specific case. I feel like it wouldn't be appropriate for me to just give a range now, but if you contact us before you engage our services, it will tell you exactly how much it's going to cost for you to use our services.
Okay, so I think we have the time for the last one questions. Well, last one question, and let's see.
But there's an interesting question from Michael. Does dual citizenship allows one to get an Italian passport? And the answer is, of course, yes. So there are two separate matters, the citizenship and the passport. So the process that you go through is the process to become an Italian citizen by descent, which is a challenging process, long process, time consuming. Once you are formally recognized as an Italian citizen, then you can apply for an Italian passport, which is a very quick and easy process. The passport is just a travel document that shows that you are an Italian citizen, but it's not your Italian citizenship. It's something different that you can apply for if you want to. People normally do apply for a passport, and it's what shows that you are an Italian citizen and that you can travel internationally as an Italian citizen.
Okay. Okay, so to all the other questions, again, you can contact the ICA on their website and all on the social media channels. At this point, I think that our Managing Director, Silvia Raffa, will end the webinar.
Yes, I wanted to thank our guest speaker again, Marco Permunian, for being here today and for answering all the questions and explaining us the process much better. So thanks for all the attendees, everyone that were able to attend our webinar today. If you have any questions about the chamber, please email us at info@iacc-chicago.com and follow our social media and events and all the activities. Thank you very much. And ciao, arrivederci, and forza azzurri.
Ciao a tutti.
Thank you.
Ciao, forza
Ciao.
Italia.